BFM 89.9, I'm Audrey Raj with your World Cup Quickie. It's shaping up to be a pretty interesting second round at the World Cup. Ning, 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 ning. Lionel Messi steals the show again as Argentina top Group F with a 3-2 win over Nigeria. That result, however, was enough to put Nigeria through to the second round, as well as Iran fell 3-1 to Bosnia. Nigeria will now play Group E winners France, who were held to a 0-0 draw by Ecuador last night. That result, however, was not enough for Ecuador to move into the second round. Switzerland made it after a 3-0 win over Honduras. Before we go, however, here's a quick update on the Suarez bite saga. The Uruguayan president feels it's unfair to judge Suarez retrospectively because there were other incidents that happened on the pitch as well. The Uruguayan FA, meanwhile, claims that those photos you saw online of Chiellini's bitten shoulder, they feel those were photoshopped. FIFA are fast-tracking the investigation into the incident, with Suarez expected to receive a long ban. FIFA insiders say it could be a 6-match ban. But either way, I guess this will be Suarez's last bite of the World Cup. More big matches happening tonight. We have Ghana versus Portugal, Belgium play South Korea, Algeria versus Russia, and the big one, you don't want to miss this, Germany play USA. Jurgen Klinsmann has written a sick note for the Americans to watch that match. You don't want to miss it as well. But first, here's Nadia Hassan.
BFM 89.9, good morning, I'm Nadia Hassan and welcome to your morning headlines. Of course, this is one of those days where pretty much everybody ran out of ideas and actually had the same headline. And of course, it has to mostly deal with the cabinet reshuffle. Technically though, it wasn't really a cabinet reshuffle. It was more of, prodigal sons coming home. As you can see, basically they welcomed back 6 MCA party members back into the fold, gave them different cabinet positions. So is it really a reshuffle? Actually, more of anything, it's an expansion. And the funny thing is, Sharad and I were talking about the fact is we do seem to have a lot of cabinet members, so you're wondering whether you bring in more people, whether it makes the whole machine more efficient. Some people seem to think it is, but it's very, very hard to say. As you can see, this was the headline of The Sun. This was also the headline of The Star, and also the NST as well. So yes, everybody clearly ran out of ideas. So to break down the shimmy of it, you had Dato' Ma Siew Keong, who actually won the Telok Intan elections, by the way, going into the PM's department. You have more notable Datuk Si Leong Tong Lai actually going into transport, and he's the one who's going to be dealing with issues for MH370 from now on. Not really a reshuffle. More of people seems to see that it's just welcoming guys back into the fold, which is very strange because if I remember correctly, after the general election and their appalling showing, they were saying that they don't want to come back in. But you know what? People have short memories, and maybe at this time they felt that it's probably the right time to have them back. In a way to put the positive spin on the story, there is actually a story inside the NST talking about analysts welcoming move, and they actually quote this guy, Professor Dr. Hu Kiping, saying that Najib kept his word to bring in the Chinese representation to the government. But of course, there were also rumors that he was going to sort of like streamline the cabinet, get rid of guys who were not performing. That clearly did not happen. But the thing is that maybe they might happen in the future, which is what the Malay Mail is hinting at. As you can see, the 3 big heads and the 3 really small heads against this really weird like blue backdrop, with the weird cropping and everything, talks about this only being the beginning. So saying that the expansion back in is only the start, that a reshuffle will eventually happen. I don't know if you actually need a reshuffle, or probably you just need a bit of trimming. After all, do you bring these guys in? What are their jobs? Can they do the job properly? I think that's the imperative thing. No matter who you bring in, you could bring in a trained monkey, I suppose, for some things, but can that person actually do their job? And that's the question that continues to be asked. The Star continues to draw plots from Homeland as opposed to Law and Order SVU, with this little banner at the top talking a Malaysian militant in a chilling video. If you actually read the story inside, it talks about Malaysians that actually go to Syria to fight the good fight in their own words, and it's uploaded on SyrianTube.net. I don't really advise if you do go there, but if you do, there's a lot of pictures of dead bodies, wounded militants, which is not exactly the most appetizing. These guys, for some reason, they decided to fight the good fight. They all talk about really going out in a blaze of glory, and I think it's quite disturbing. From one person, the story actually evolved from this one rubber tapper who was found with like homemade guns. Now it's gone to a full-blown assault, and they say there are actually more. These videos are just the tip of the iceberg. The government actually acted apparently from tips from certain parties and certain sources, but I have a feeling that it will just be seeing absolutely more of this, but it's disturbing all around. Actually, of all the papers, the Sinar Harian decided to buck the trend and talk about the whole issue with Firdaus. Cukuplah derita Firdaus is their way that I suppose they're trying trying to sort of like touch your hearts. This is a bit more Law and Order as for you. The interesting thing about this is the news of the cabinet reshuffle doesn't make it until like literally about 6-7 pages in, which if you know anything about how newspapers are laid out, usually the most important stories, front page, page 2, page 3, is this how much importance they place on it, or they feel of it as a non-event, which some people say it is. And you know what's even funnier? Harian Metro, our favorite tabloid, even has a little mention. Of course, it's a tiny mention, but at least they have a mention on their front cover, which Sina Harian does not. Finishing up with World Cup news is the whole thing about Suarez gigit orang kaya. So this is Suarez, who apparently has a bit of a biting fetish. They talk about orang kaya, you know why? Because bookies were taking bets on it. Because this guy has a history of biting, so they were actually taking bets on whether he would actually do it again. And hey, you know what? Jackpot, he actually did. I don't know what the odds are, but you know, it's not the conduct that's most becoming. Utosan also has that, a bigger picture with the guy saying, see, he bit me. It's all about the game and pretty much how you play it. I don't think this is the way you want to kind of go out. And the funny thing is, this is actually causing really big problems for Adidas, because they're like saying, do we want to endorse a guy who's clearly a biter? The last guy who became famous for biting was Mike Tyson, and we all know what happened to him. Since we have pop cultural references all across the board, let's have a Breaking Bad one, shall we? Jutawan Shabu is what we have. Apparently, over the past 2 years, 64 Malaysians have been detained in Indonesia for smuggling Shabu, or is better known as crystal meth, and they are all getting their comeuppance for it. Basically, it shows that Malaysians are getting into this particular type of drug trade, which is also worrying, which is something I think the government needs to look into. So our word of the day is jutawan, as in millionaire, is something we all aspire to be, hopefully without the taxes. But saying that, I don't think running a drug ring is the way of doing it. Although, hey, Walter White, it seemed to work out for Walter White right up until he croaked. That's it for today's morning headlines. I'm Nadia Hassan for BFM 89.9.